Hey, 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 come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. Yes, we have to do this every video. Come here. It's scary hours. It's 12 in the morning while we're recording this. So we can't be too loud. We gotta whisper a little bit. Just a little bit, not too loud. But what's good, YouTube? How y'all doing out there? It's your boy Jerry from Smith Family TV, and today we have why Wilt Chamberlain is the GOAT part 1 out of 6. I may watch this whole series, I don't know. He only requested for me to watch one. I asked him which one. He said it's the one Wilt Chamberlain. So we're gonna watch episode 1. If you want me to watch more of this, I will watch more of it. But everything you need to know will be in the description box below. Hopefully this video is fire. You know what? We're gonna go into this with high hopes. It is gonna be fire. So you know I gotta make sure we have the fire come up on the screen. But let's get this thing started, man. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Now we got Kobe going between the legs. Damn, hey, back him down, post fade. Michael Jordan going down the court. Oh man.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
That was terrible.
For a while, they were saying that I was the greatest. And before me, it was Magic who is the greatest, and then it's Michael's turn. But open up the record book and it will be obvious who the greatest is. Wilton Norman Chamberlain.
He said the government.
With arguably the most dominant player in the league's history. Wilt was so astonishing that he had Larry Bird believing that he was the greatest, and by the end of this video,
bro,
you might be convinced of it too.
I say this every Wilt video. I'm sick of seeing this shit, man. I'm tired of it.
Just like the great Larry Bird mentioned, to see Wilt's dominance, you don't have to look any further than the NBA record book. Wilt has a total of 67 individual NBA records. No other player comes remotely close to that total. Take a look at some of the list here that includes the most points in a game, most points per game for a season, most 50-point games, and so on. Also consider the fact that block shots were not a statistic when Wilt played.
Yeah, that's tough.
Which is something that he was arguably the greatest ever at doing, and which we'll touch on more later.
Yeah, that's messed up.
If blocks had been factored in, Wilt's list of records would have been undeniably much longer. The list just doesn't stop. I don't have enough time.
Let's see how many rings he won. I didn't look it up in the other video. The Wilt vs. Kareem video. I'll link it in the eye.
Seemingly endless. Here's the question, though, that sparks many debates about Wilt's legacy. Why is it that he achieved all those records that no other player can even touch? Personally, I believe it was a combination of several things. First and foremost, as far as abilities are concerned, Wilt was arguably the greatest athlete in human history. He was basically a demigod.
Basically.
The man was 7 foot 1 inches tall, with a 7 foot 8 inch wingspan.
Nigga, I hit him up! I know y'all hear that hit him up. I left the volume up for a reason.
Got as high as 50 inches.
That's tough.
He was a high jump champion at college. He was a long jump athlete, and he had insane speed.
He ain't even like he jumped.
40-yard dash in 4.6 seconds.
That shit's scary. That's scary, bro. Every time I see this clip, that's scary, bro. Y'all know Mike Yagubian from Meet the Robinsons? That's what Wilt look like running down the court, bro. Every time I see this, that's why I be like, that's scary, bro. I'm gonna put the clip in this video. Y'all go see it.
Wilt once ran a 40-yard dash in 4.6 seconds.
God damn.
Witnesses,
oh my God.
Barefoot in that sprint.
That's even,
to put that
bro.
In perspective,
What?
LeBron James ran a 4.6 in 2012, which was the
blocked by James.
LeBron also wasn't barefoot in that sprint. At an event, Wilt and Jim Brown challenged each other to a foot race.
I'm not sure, like, the dude, because I don't want to pause too much because it's a talking video, but I'm not sure the dude who watching this know, like, when you run barefoot, your mind automatically triggers for you to run the correct way. So Wilt was running with the correct form, posture probably, and everything, like he was probably in dorsiflexion, all that good stuff that I don't want to really talk about. But like your mind automatically tell you. So when you barefoot, that's why it seems like you run faster barefoot, because your mind automatically is telling you how to run. But when you got on shoes, you might struggle. So I just want to say that
Jim Brown is considered by many as the greatest running back in NFL history.
Is he?
His job in the NFL was to run with the football, and he was the best to ever do it. According to eyewitnesses, Wilt Chamberlain beat him comfortably in a foot race. Jim Brown, obviously frustrated by the outcome, challenged Wilt to a rematch. Wilt obliged, and he beat him in a foot race a second time.
That's tough.
Wilt was also ferociously strong, and actually had Arnold Schwarzenegger's seal of approval as the strongest NBA player to ever live. During the filming of their movie together, Wilt and Arnold would constantly hit the gym together.
What movie that
Arnold
is?
explained was that Wilt would come into the gym and kill it in the weight room to such an extent that all of the weightlifting his bodybuilding peers were doing looked like child's play compared to Wilt Chamberlain. He could bench press up to 550 pounds among countless other jaw-dropping feats of strength. Wilt was...
Now, when I said something in my last one of my Wilt videos. I said, that's crazy. Like, I don't believe that he lift that much. It was like the delivery dude said it was about a certain amount of size. Dude was like, somebody in the comments like, he didn't lift that. You just don't be paying attention. He just said the man lifted 550. That's basically 600 in my fucking book. That's enough.
Also the gold standard of stamina. In the 1962 season, Wilt averaged 48.5 minutes per game. That's more minutes than there are in a complete
Which is crazy
season.
still.
That was possible because of the overtime games that Wilt had played that year. The only instance where Wilt took a rest during that season was a game where he had been ejected by the referee.
Mike and Gooby are going crazy.
Instance, Wilt Chamberlain played the entire NBA
He got a
season
jock
without
strap on
losing
his
a
head.
single run. So in summary, Wilt was huge, he was the baddest, he was the fastest.
That's crazy.
And he never stopped. He was essentially a giant NBA 2K character with all the sliders.
Yeah.
He had the physical prowess and abilities to dominate even today's game. When you put all of that together and drop that player into the 1960s, well, it's no wonder he averaged 50 points and 25 rebounds for a season. Despite all of his astonishing God-given ability, people still try to diminish his legacy and act as if Wilt's success was more because of the era he played in than because of his abilities.
Yeah.
One of the biggest narratives that people will point to was that Wilt Chamberlain played against a bunch of smaller 6'3" white guys in his era, and that's why he dominated.
And that it was only 8 teams, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
This narrative is an ignorant and contagious myth. It's a complete and utter lie, and honestly should be seen as offensive to anyone who witnessed Wilt Chamberlain.
Somebody's angry
and has proper respect for what the man was capable of. The season Wilt averaged 50 points, there were 9 teams in the league, and every team in the NBA, with the exception of one, had at least a 6'10" center to defend Wilt Chamberlain.
That don't make a fucking difference. A 6. This guy who's talking doesn't know basketball.
Packers had a 6'11" Walt Bellamy.
Rudy Gobert,
The Celtics
like
had a
7
6'10"
feet.
Russell.
He still
The
get cooked by
Nationals had
Joel
7'3"
Embiid.
Wade Halbrook. Knicks had a 6'10" Phil Jordan and a 6'10" Darrell Imhoff.
Never heard of these
Lakers
people.
had a 6'11" Ray Felix. Royals had a 6'10" Bevo Nordman. And the Pistons had a 7-foot Walter Dukes.
I heard
These
of
men
him.
were dominated to such an extent that they looked like children up against Wilt. Not because of their size, but because Wilt Chamberlain was a beast. To put this in an even greater perspective,
I can
the
respect
average
that.
height of the NBA player in today's game, this 2019 season, is 6 foot 7 inches tall. The average height of the NBA player
So
in
this
Wilt's
old,
playing
old.
days was 6 foot 6 inches tall. 1 inch is the difference between the average NBA player today and the average NBA player in Wilt's era. Yet the cancerous NBA casuals community will have you believing that Wilt Chamberlain did his damage because he played against a bunch of white
Hey, you
Kevin
bogus
Martins.
as shit. You
Now
bogus.
listen, I'm not saying that the game hasn't evolved. or that the general
Okay, so 9 teams was in the league when they was playing. So the main argument that I see a lot of people like that's not younger than me but a little bit older than me, like that 90s generation, a lot of the argument they kind of usually say is like it was 9 teams. Like if you're gonna dominate somebody and be better than somebody, you're gonna be better than them every time. So that's kind of the argument. Like he lost to Bill Russell a lot, but still, like they playing the same 9 teams. So it's like I'm gonna dominate you every time I play you. That's why people like, oh, the stats just seem made up, but he gonna dominate them same people because they're not getting no better. Like he's getting stronger, faster, better every year. So it's like, bro, in the end, like, yes, his numbers make sense because of how small the league was. They was just playing the same people. It's like my middle school team. We used to play only 8 games till our 8th grade season. When we played like 18 games, we start playing other people from different cities in the area instead of playing the same schools. We still went undefeated, but we kept playing the same people. We kept dominating the same teams. So we just looked like this great, like, super team, but we was just very talented kids, you know. Shout out to my Edgar squad. If y'all watching this, I love y'all, man.
isn't greater than the general athlete of years past, to a certain extent. Of course, I believe that definitely to be true, that athletes have evolved. But I think it's absolutely hilarious.
That's crazy, though.
People try to use this narrative against legends of years past. If anything, we should be completely awestruck.
If I see that layup one more time.
Athletic stature coming from a man who played in the 60s. Here's an example of what I mean. It's been well documented, and we're all pretty well aware that LeBron James takes good care of himself. It's been reported that LeBron spends $1.5 million a year on his body. He uses modern-day training, supplements, and programs, and takes full advantage of them as he should. Many players in the modern NBA take advantage of modern technology.
I don't know if it's because of my abs, but that's actually easier.
Wilt Chamberlain was an athletic freak who was essentially an overpowered NBA 2K player, despite the fact that he played in the 60s. Now imagine taking a young Wilt Chamberlain and placing him in today's modern era, where he was allowed to spend $1.5 million a year on his body and use to his advantage.
First off, fuck your bitch in the clip you claim. West side, when we ride, come equipped with game. You can't let me a player, but I'm your wife. We bust on bad boys, niggas.
Why it blows my mind when people try to use the evolving athlete narrative against Wilt Chamberlain.
Hey, if the dude who made this video watching this, don't ever put the instrument in there again. Like, I can't even focus on what you're saying because I'm steady thinking about the lyrics.
Instead of for Wilt Chamberlain. So not only was Wilt incredible and played against other big men,
wasn't he a Harlem Globetrotter too?
He also had to fight through lots of abuse and would regularly take a beating each game, similar to the beating Shaquille O'Neal had to endure during his playing days. During Wilt's rookie season, he actually shocked many Warriors fans by publicly flirting with the idea of retirement. He was tired of constantly facing double and triple teams and absorbing all the hard fouls the opponents were inflicting upon him.
I know you're paying.
Tom Langston, who was a forward for the Celtics and an opponent of Chamberlain, put it this way. Half of the fouls against Wilt were hard fouls. He took the most brutal pounding of any player ever. At this point, we've established Wilt's records, his physical prowess, and his dominance over a legitimate era of basketball. But what about his accolades? Well, he was the Rookie of the Year. He was also the MVP his rookie year. He was the MVP of the league a total of 4 times. He has 7 scoring titles, which were all consecutive, and he led the league in assists once.
That's a crazy.
And he's a 2-time champion and a Finals MVP. All of today's defensive awards and statistics were not calculated.
Bro, didn't I just say I don't want to see that damn layup?
He surely would have had more defensive accolades to add to
Hey,
his
Wilt
score.
used to be stepping at the fits, though.
Wilt was the ultimate rim protector. According to several players, Wilt once had a game against the Detroit Pistons where he blocked 20.
Wilt probably got 15,000 blocks.
If it's a little too difficult for you to believe, then you will have to accept 23 blocks as a career high for Wilt, because he blocked 23 shots on a nationally televised game on Christmas Day.
Dog was putting up people points as blocks. He probably had 15,000 blocks.
This makes Wilt Chamberlain comfortably the unofficial record holder for most
How much
block
time
shots in a
left?
single game. Honestly,
Oh, it's a good
it
6
makes
minutes
sense
left.
that Wilt would be capable of such numbers. Everyone is geeking out.
Oh my
about the
God.
Zion Williamson's incredible leaping ability and this block he made.
Yeah, this old, but that's crazy.
Okay, now I
that
want
was
you to take
crazy.
the same vertical leaping ability for Zion, add 6 inches to his height and 10 inches to his wingspan, and what you have is the abilities of Wilt Chamberlain as a shot blocker.
That's crazy.
Wilt has the
Imagine how high you got to shoot your floaters.
and abilities, but still some discredit him for the fact that he only won 2 championships, especially
he
when
won.
Bill Russell played in the same era as Wilt
He
and
won.
11 championships. My response to this would be with a question. Is Kevin Durant a greater player on the all-time list than LeBron James? Even if Kevin Durant wins the next several championships and finishes with more rings than LeBron, just about everyone will still consider LeBron higher on the all-time list. The reason for this is obvious. Kevin Durant's on a stacked team with future Hall of Famers. LeBron is not. Unless you're just a LeBron hater, nobody really holds it against LeBron for not being able to beat this Golden State Warriors super team the last couple of years.
No,
It was really the same situation between Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell talent-wise.
that was bad.
Wilt's team in Philadelphia and in San Francisco were nowhere close to the overall talent of Bill Russell's Boston Celtics.
Everybody's beatable is all I'm saying. Because it's obvious. Like, Bill Russell lost during that streak he had, how many championships he won in a row. He lost twice. And I some telling me right now that them 2 times, I'm going to look it up, the
Russell
2 times he
had guys
lost.
like John Havlicek, Tom Heinsohn, Sam Jones, Bob Cousy, and Bailey Howell.
Because Wilt won in
These were all
67 and
guys who ended up in the
72,
Hall
so
of
we
Fame
know for
and
the
were each
fact.
capable of carrying the Celtics on any given night. Although Wilt had some help, it was never nearly to the extent that Russell had. Not only that, but this was during the generation of no free agency, meaning that really the only way players ended up changing teams is if they got traded. And when your team is stacked and dominating, why would you trade anyone anyway?
So Bill Russell had the supporting cast, but Wilt beat him one year. It's 1967. He beat him. So anybody's beatable.
Meaning that Russell's teams were stacked like the modern day Warriors and stayed that way.
Yep.
And Wilt's teams were like last year's Cavaliers and stayed that way.
And
When you look at it that way, you can begin to see how Wilt could have been the better player even if Russell's teams were the ones that were always winning.
even
By
though
the
this is
time
old,
Chamberlain finally joined the Lakers,
Bill
and
Russell
had great
admitted to
players
it,
around him, he was
that Wilt was
32
better.
years old and was only averaging 20 points per game. If Chamberlain had been on the Lakers earlier in his career, the amount of championships for Russell and Chamberlain would likely have been much different. With all of that being said, Wilt Chamberlain still dominated everyone, including Bill Russell.
That
when
shit
it
like
came
a
down to
jock
the
strap on
individual
Wilt
metrics
head.
Statistically, even Chamberlain's record 55 rebound game came against
Oh.
Bill Russell.
Jesus.
One last story for you guys before I wrap this video up. I have a good friend who's a little older than me. He's in his mid-30s and his parents were having a barbecue and invited me and my group of friends over to watch a Warriors game. My friend's dad is almost 70 years old and he's been an NBA fan almost his entire life. Growing up, he watched all the greats play from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and he still loves the NBA today. The NBA wasn't really popularized until Magic Johnson and Larry Bird arrived in the 80s,
Yeah.
so fans like my friend's dad are extremely rare, because not only do you have to be old enough to have seen those eras, but you also have to have loved the NBA before it rose to high levels of popularity. My friend's dad meets each criteria. We were having some drinks, just chilling, when the conversation of the GOAT came up.
Of
Some guys
course.
shared some opinions, but then my buddy's dad said Wilt Chamberlain was the greatest. I said, "Really? You've got him over MJ?" And then he looked at me straight in the eyes and said, "Johnny, I've seen Jordan, LeBron, Wilt. I've seen all of these guys with my own 2 eyes. Wilt Chamberlain is easily the greatest player of all time." Now, I'm not telling you that you should believe that Wilt is the GOAT just because some random person I know says so, but his comments did make me think. Are we too quick to rule out generations past? Is our own personal nostalgia or recency bias so strong that we can't even truly consider the greats who came before us? Listen,
that's wild. That's wild. That's wild.
The sports world would be losing their minds. We've become so accustomed to the numbers that Wilt put up that we tend to sweep Wilt's accomplishments under the rug like it doesn't mean anything.
Because he dominated the same 9 teams.
It's so long ago,
the NBA has like 30-something teams
so
now.
It doesn't resonate with us.
30
but
teams,
the reality
exactly.
is a man scored 100 points in a single game by himself against other pro basketball players, and actual people witnessed it and were amazed by it. A man averaged 50 points for a season and 38 points as a rookie. There was a man who dominated his opponent statistically more than any other player in NBA history, and it's not even close. When it comes to comparing the greats and their level of production in their prime, Wilt Chamberlain has no rival. This is why Wilt Chamberlain is the greatest player of all time.
Because of some stats.
Thank you guys so much for watching my video. This is my first video of my new GOAT series, which will include a...
We're going to start right there with all them GOAT heads. So I'm guessing the next video is Kareem. Episode 3 is Mike. Episode 4 is LeBron. Episode 5 is Bill Russell. And episode 6 is Kobe. So like I said, if y'all want me to watch the rest of them, I will. But this guy, honest, I'm gonna be honest, some of the stuff he was saying was making sense, but most of it, I was like, nah, bro, what are you talking about? Like, do you hoop? Do you hoop? Do you understand? I don't think he hoop, but he don't even sound like a hooper. Like the shit he was saying, like, don't know hooper talk like that. But anyways, I'ma get up out of here before I say something that I don't even know why I'm saying it. But leave a like if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you turn on post notifications after you click the subscribe button. Make sure you hit all so you get all of them. And yeah, man. It's Jeremy from Smith Family TV, and I'm out of here, man. I'll see y'all next time.
I love you, that man.
DJ Victory, bring me the bitch.
I got a sniper inside of the range. Had you shooting while I'm driving the range. Booted up the pockets, that's not a game. Cold chills all on the brand. I'm going into my brain. I'm taking over your land. Off of your bitch,